Gonna do a little morning meditation. So, again, you want to focus on your breath. You want to take a slow, big inhale and rise your arms simultaneously all the way up to this position where you feel like you're completely extended vertically. Kind of want to point the middle finger. Some type of way you feel like it's kind of a straight line. Really stretch out your spine. You want to either still be inhaling, or if you have inhaled all you can, you want to be holding. Really stretch out your spine and your back, your diaphragm, and then you want to slowly exhale. And I think for the cadence, for the, for I think if you really want to understand how to just get a really great exhale, just a really good profile, and where you feel like the ratio of the speed of the exhale, the oxygen, is about equal to the weight of gravity that is placed upon your arms. If you really want to, I would say probably, become very, very, very good at that. What you want to do when you're up here and you have all that oxygen in your lungs and you're either holding it or you're in the process of filling up all your lungs. What you want to do is you want the start of the exhale when you very first start exhaling, that kind of like little flip that happens there. You want to take that as slowly as you possibly can. You want to practice it. And through doing that, through really slowing it down there on the exhale, through truly slowing it down right there, you become more familiar with that territory, that part of the landscape of your exhale, how your body feels, and so then you start to have data there because you're practicing really slowing that down, and you will get better at it, and your brain gets better at it, and your body gets better at it. And that's kind of the game that you're playing. That's kind of the game that we're playing. We're playing games with reality, and we hope, it goes well. And when you're in a state of meditation, when you're in a state of mindfulness, and you're realizing, so you're focusing on your breath, focusing on your breath, and you're trying to get better at meditating. And one of the things that you will notice is that your brain and your body are kind of in this conversation. You want to do something, like you want to get better at meditating, you want to get just a really great exhale all the way down where you feel it's a different experience. Maybe you feel more aligned with your heart rate, really slow down, and you do these types of practices. If you want to get better at something like that, it takes you kind of like noticing that noticing that area of reality, and then it also like somehow your body responds in a better way when you have noticed that. I think I think the same could be true for exercise, set of exercise. And and so the next thing you know, through practice, you're getting better at something. And that's that's a conversation, that's a relationship, that's how your body naturally uh is going to adapt and survive in in life. That might be, you might be looking at something along the lines of how the body primarily works or organizes itself. So you're exhaling and you're noticing that you want to get better at something. You're noticing that you want to get better at something. And your body then responds through practice. Well, so that's a mechanism. I studied biology and I didn't take it too far, but I know that's a mechanism. Those are mechanisms that are working in tangent. And it's not too dissimilar to kind of our metaphysics as well, the expression of our biology, this idea of call and response. And this idea that in meditation, you realize that you realize that you want to change. You want to practice exhaling your breath perfectly and taking out exhale very slowly. Well, you're noticing that, and so and then you want to get better at it, and so you're kind of calling out to it a little bit, or we're noticing it, or something. The brain is doing, it's observing. The brain's observing a part of reality in which it has the body's better adapted to that type of idea, where it can really slow down the exhale. And so then you act in a way through practice, you act in a way in which the is going to satisfy that call, maybe, or it's gonna so the call is the signal, and then the acting out is the response. So it's gonna have something to do with that. And so through an idea like meditation, through an idea of mindfulness, by the practice of, let's do it. We're always filled up with air as much as we can. We feel like we're completely going vertical. Everything's pushed, and then slowly exhale. Slowly exhale. Bring it all the way down there. Um, and that might have been difficult for you, especially if you had a big breath, uh, and you could barely hold it. That would have been difficult for you, easily. So, yeah, this idea of that you can change, this idea that you can become better adapted at something, or um, that type of idea, that type of landscape. It is it's this call and response between your brain, your ideas, the ideas that populate your brain, and then the actor part of you, where you are responding to that signal. And so, um, I mean, that's pretty self-evident if you meditate. If you meditate and you want to get better at meditation, your mind is telling you that cocktail of chemicals are saying, go this way, move the electron this way. That area, that mechanism is this where you notice something, you want to become, I don't know what your brain says, but maybe you just say go in this direction. And then the response is you also yourself responding to that signal. And through practice, becoming more biologically adapted to that idea, or that idea, I guess. And that's pretty self-evident in mindfulness and meditation. And then you start to think about that, and you start to think that these are the mechanisms which you are given and which you can use, and you can create a pathway for yourself, maybe figure out how you want to move through life. Um, and so I think that within that conversation that you have with yourself, the narrative within your mind, you can have a better relationship with the way that you're designed. You can have a better relationship with um, the natural mechanisms uh, in your mind, the games you play. It can be going better for you. Um, and and so that is, I don't know. I feel like that's where, despite all, I was talking about Jordan Peterson, Sam Harris's, how I kind of started meditating after them. That's, despite all the philosophy and everything, that's kind of where I felt like Sam Harris's conversation with meditation. Well, that's kind of where I found it. Where his point is, um, through through embracing rationality enough to interpret just the simplest things you find, mindfulness and meditation, reality can be going better for you, because you are giving your brain this space to become more rational. Um, now that almost certainly is going to help you in life.